So here's something most friends never want to hear. Your emails are probably leaving money on the table, and not because the copy is bad or the offer is weak, but because nobody actually thought about how the email is built. Most brands just throw everything into one email, hit send, and assume that's the job done. But it's not, because the way an email is laid out is the difference between someone clicking through and someone closing it in 2 seconds flat. And the part that really gets me is you don't actually feel it happening, right? You don't actually see it happening. Nothing's technically broken. The email goes out, a few people buy, everyone moves on, but underneath that, you've got people glancing at it for half a second, getting overwhelmed, and swiping it away. That's the most expensive kind of mistake there is, because you never see the sale you didn't actually make, right? You just quietly make less than you should have every single cent with no idea why. I got one in my inbox the other day, and the product was decent. The brand was pretty decent as well, but the email itself was a complete mess. Everything stacked on top of everything else, no spacing, no order, the whole thing screaming at you all at once. So yeah, I lands nowhere. I genuinely couldn't tell what they wanted me to do, right? And I do this for a living. So a normal customer who's half paying attention is gone in a second. And this isn't something rare one-off. This is what most brands' email actually look like nowadays. Because here's the thing nobody actually catches. An email isn't there to look pretty. It's there to do a job, right? So say one thing clearly, point you in that direction, and make the next steps obvious. That email did the complete opposite of all three. So I didn't just want to sit here telling you what's wrong with it, right? Anyone can do that. Take a look at this next segment where I completely change the way the email actually looked like, and in a way that performs really well for the brand. So this is what the current email looks like, right? Just lots of cards stacked on top of it. I'm pretty sure these portion right here won't be visible when it's viewed on mobile, and just a lot of things that are pointing nowhere, right? And it's completely unoptimized and is not going to convert well for the brand. Now I'm going to redesign this particular welcome series 1 email for this brand right here, and you're going to see the exact difference that it makes from the breakdown that I show you. Let me quickly finish up the redesign and I'll get back to you on the breakdown portion. So this right here is the redesigned email for the brand that I just created, and you can clearly see the difference in aesthetic, but aesthetic does not sell, right? The thing that sells is the structure. Now I'm gonna break down each portion and each changes that I made for the email and break it down in a very simple manner. Let's get into it. Okay, like I said, moving stuff around on screen is the easy bit. Anyone can do that, right? The real game is knowing why each thing goes where it goes. So let me walk you through the 6 things that I changed, why they matter for basically every email you send. Now, number 1 is the header. The first thing that someone sees has basically one job, right? Which is tell them exactly straight away what this is and who this is from. So it's a clear, bold header from the brand name right up front. Nothing clever, nothing they've got to sit there and figure out, right? And people are skimming through their inbox in half a second. So you tell them what's going on immediately and set the tone for everything that comes after. Then comes the offer. If there's a discount or a deal in the email, that's usually the whole reason someone opens it in the first place. So the last thing you want is to make them dig around and look for it. It sits up high, it's marked clearly, and it's basically impossible to miss, because a deal nobody finds is a deal nobody uses, and that's just money sitting there doing nothing, right? In the original, it was buried somewhere in the middle of everything, and now it's got its own place where you just can't miss it. Number 3 is the product section. Most people opening your email genuinely don't know where to start, so you don't just dump every single product on them, right? Hoping they just work it out. You break it into clear sections, let them go to one they actually care about, because the fewer choices you put on the screen, the more clicks you get into the store. The original just stacked it all together, left the customer to do the sorting themselves, and that sorting is your job and not theirs, right? Number 4 is one button, one place. This is the one I'll die on, honestly. Every button should send people to one place and one place only. So if someone taps on the screen, they land on exactly that, not the home page, not some random page with everything on it. One button, one destination every single time. Because the second a button dumps somewhere else, generic, right? You've thrown away the exact thing they actually wanted the moment they tapped it. Number 5 is going to be the reason to buy, or I like to call it the guarantees, right? Right before the last ask, you remind them why you and not the 10 other brands sitting in their inbox. So it's one line on what actually makes you worth buying from. You're basically warming up the decision a second before you ask them to click. And that's the thing that gets people over the line on the final button. Most brands completely skip this and then sit there wondering why nobody's clicking at the bottom. Number 6 is going to be the final button. And then the email ends a strong, clear thing to do. Not some random footer they've got to scroll and all the way back from, right? By the time they reach the bottom, they've already seen the deal, the product, the reason to care, and so the last thing on the screen is just the easiest possible next step sitting right there where they already are. That is it. So here's the thing most people miss. None of this is decoration, right? Every single change that I made is built to get someone to actually do something. That's the whole difference between an email that looks finished and the one that actually makes you money. So if you've got email going out right now and you're honestly not sure they're pulling their weight, just send me one and I'll break down the same way I just did this one. No pitch, just a breakdown for you.